Hey guys, it's Monday. It's July 20th. I just wanted to kind of voice my frustration over how a few days of propaganda can sway this country one way or the other. And, you take a look at the stock market. It's what we're using for the leading indicator on the economy. And this stock market is 100% fictitious. The Dow Jones is leading it. The financials are leading it. And they're bought and paid for. They are no longer privately owned, free enterprise type companies. They're zombie banks that are on life support. I mean, they shouldn't even be in business. And yet, in the middle of this worst economic meltdown in our nation's history, where more wealth has been lost in the last 8 months than it had been lost in the history of the world, we can have record profits for Goldman Sachs, and we can magically come out of a depression by spending money that we don't have. Can anybody make this make sense to me? Because it doesn't make sense. And no, nobody can make it make sense. Because it's all a lie. It's fictitious and it's false. And the American people are getting the tab for it. Or whatever Western country you live in that happens to be partaking in quantitative easing, you're getting the tab for it. We look back at after the inauguration, and everything's doom and gloom out of Washington. Day after day we're hearing, we're on the verge, we're on the precipice of falling into another Great Depression. So we got to rush this bill through without even reading it. And then the gears start turning and money starts flowing, but not into Main Street, not into shovel-ready projects that we find out don't exist. The money starts flowing into the banks and starting a run on Wall Street. So we end up with the largest rally in the history of the markets. Inside of 100 days, it's up 35%. Now, that's a violent rally upward. The last time we've seen rallies like that had been in the Great Depression. 5 of the 11 years, by the way, were up years during the Great Depression. So now we're sitting here with the Federal Reserve Chairman having a 60 Minutes interview saying we're going to have growth in the second half of 2009. And, the reality was starting to set in 2 weeks ago that wasn't going to happen. And then we have a few good days on Wall Street, and now the talk is right back to where it was. We're going to have a third quarter recovery. But the reasons now are for so they can get more of our money. This is my prediction. And you know what? It isn't even a prediction. I can back it up with news articles. The administration now is toting recovery, green shoots. The economy is getting better, and they're so much wanting to get that message across. They're going to delay their typical mid-July budget report. They're not going to issue it now. They're going to wait till next month to issue it because they don't want to have to go before Congress and the American people asking them to pass a multi-trillion-dollar cap-and-trade bill and a multi-trillion-dollar medical reform act that by all accounts, except for the people who want it to pass, but by all the Congressional Budget Office account, it's going to cost millions of jobs and be way over budget and not come in even close to what they're projecting. But they want this passed, so they're going to promote the healthy economy. And they're going to even take this report that shows how horribly they estimated this economic meltdown, and they're going to delay it till after this session of Congress. They're going to release it next month during the break. It isn't my opinion. I'll post the AP article that I read that on this morning. But it isn't just the White House. It's the mainstream media who is in lockstep. I mean, they're culpable for helping deceive the American people, in my opinion. I mean, I go on to Bloomberg this morning, and this is Bloomberg. Now, I don't know who's getting paid to do what, but Bloomberg is one of the news media outlets that I used to have a lot of respect for. They were the ones who went after the Fed to try to find out where these billions of dollars, trillions of dollars, off-balance sheet dollars were going. But every article on their top stories today was this rosy picture, and this one here, U.S. economy leading index shows slump may be ending. And I hate to bash a fellow Irishman, but I'm going to read you this quote. The numbers are signaling an outright turning point, says James O'Sullivan, a senior economist at UBS Securities LLC in Stamford, Connecticut. The recession will end in the third quarter. We're moving in the right direction. Then they go on to quote that they're using the consumer confidence index and the stock market as their indicators for these predictions. So these analysts who are trying to compare this to the dot-com bubble or the 80s recession or the 70s recession, they really need to step outside their little bubble and try to figure things out on a macro scale. I mean, jobs are still being lost at 500,000 a month. The unemployment rate is going to be at 10% by the U3 numbers by the end of July. I mean, there's no jobs being created. And someone, please answer the American people on what sector is leading us out. Where are we? What bubble is going to get created to create jobs for the millions of people who are on unemployment right now, the millions of people on welfare right now, the millions of people who are relying on state assistance right now? Where are these jobs coming from? There's no answers. It's just we keep giving money to the banks and they will fix the problems. Not going to happen. That's all I got.